Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Tornado Talk. We're here every Monday night at Dugan's Pub. Inside look at Brevard College Tornadoes athletics. Glad you're able to join us. Got an exciting show on tap this evening. We'll talk to two cross-country student athletes, Gavin Morgan and Michael Fader. We'll check in with head football coach Bill Kyatt, coming off a big win for the Tornadoes this past weekend. We'll hear from football student athletes Dakota Cochran and Blake Taylor. And we'll speak with head men's soccer coach El Dana, along with men's soccer student athletes Pedro Campos and JP Swarty. Want to thank our sponsors, Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingles, Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium, Pepsi, and the home of Tornado Talk every Monday night, Dugan's Pub. Before we get started with tonight's program, do want to relay to you some breaking news in the world of Brevard College athletics. The men's soccer team qualifying for the ECAC championships. They gathered together this afternoon in a watch party type setting, waiting the news from the ECAC. Word came out in the 4 p.m. hour that indeed Brevard College qualifies for the Division III men's soccer ECAC championships. So an exciting accomplishment for Coach El Dana's club. The Tornadoes will head to Chester, Pennsylvania, which is on the outskirts of Philadelphia, for a matchup against Widener University this Saturday at 2 p.m. And that's a tournament of 16 teams. If the Tornadoes win on Saturday, they'll play again on Sunday in the round of 8. And then the final 4 for the ECAC championships will be the following week if the Tornadoes are able to get through this opening weekend. But congratulations to head men's soccer coach El Dana and the entire Tornado men's soccer team for qualifying for the ECAC championships. And we'll speak with Coach and a couple of those student athletes later this evening to learn even more about what's going on there with men's soccer. We'll talk a lot of football tonight because the football team continues on a historic run. They are now 6-2 on the season, 4-2 in the USA South Conference. That's after a 10-9 win over Averett on Saturday night. Averett, by the way, the preseason favorite to win the USA South. Tornadoes knock off Averett, improve to 6-2. One more win, and they will have the most wins in school history, tying the 2009 squad. And another win also will give the Tornadoes the best winning percentage in school history. And just a thrilling game on Saturday night in cold conditions at Brevard Memorial Stadium. A touchdown in the final minute of the game where Dalton Cole hit Blake Taylor on a 36-yard pass, which is 52 seconds left. Tornadoes able to tie the game at 9 apiece. Stamati Damalos kicks the extra point. 10-9 win for the Tornadoes, capped off by a Wesley Ross interception that sealed the deal. Defense of the Tornadoes continues an incredible run as well. We'll get into all those details with head football coach Bill Kyatt a little later in the program. Basketball is getting started this week, folks. Come on out tomorrow to the Boshemer Gymnasium, 5:30 p.m. Women's basketball takes on Toccoa Falls. And 7:30 p.m., the men's team with their season opener also against Toccoa Falls. So a women's-men's doubleheader on Tuesday, tomorrow, at the Boshemer Gymnasium at Brevard College to kick off the Tornadoes basketball season. For the fans, the Tornadoes basketball season opened up last week with Tornado Tip-Off, an exciting event at the Boshemer Gymnasium, sort of a Midnight Madness type affair. Some incredible dunks during the dunk contest. And a lot of fun was had, but Tornadoes will get going in earnest tomorrow. Women's team will then play at Barry on Thursday. Men's team, another home game on Friday night at 7 p.m. against Pensacola Christian. And then Saturday, 6 p.m., the men's team will be playing at UNC Asheville. So if you're in the Asheville area, check out the Tornadoes taking on the Bulldogs. And then Sunday, back here at the Boshemer Gymnasium on the campus of Brevard College, the women's team will face off against Methodist. And that brings us to our first two guests of the evening. Excited to have these two on the show. Long road traveled for these two. We mentioned the ECAC championships for men's soccer. These two student athletes have returned to Brevard, North Carolina after participating in the ECAC men's cross-country championships. And as they get settled here to the coach's corner at Dugan's Pub, great to be joined now by sophomore Gavin Morgan and freshman Michael Fader. Thanks for joining Tornado Talk, gentlemen.
Definitely.
No problem.
Well, the two of you have returned home to Brevard College after participating in the ECAC Men's Cross Country Championships, a national championship type setting of sorts. You know, ECAC, a conference and affiliation that the Tornadoes are involved in their transition to Division III, and it allows student athletes like yourselves who have outstanding regular seasons the chance to participate in the postseason. Milton, New York. Gavin, you end up with a second-place finish. Michael, a well-fought day yourself. You were filling me in on some of that. Cold conditions. Let's start there. What was that event like in New York, and how did it feel to represent the Tornadoes up there?
Yeah, definitely the conditions were not the best, but, you know, they weren't horrible at the same time. It was a really muddy course. The course kind of was a pretty steep course, especially downhill slopes, tight turns and stuff. But other than that, it was a pretty good
And Michael, the course from your perspective?
To me, I'm not good with hills, so like I'm better at going down them than up it. So I was like, but it was cold, so I warmed up longer than I would for a normal race, just trying to conserve body heat. And so I was like, it's a cold one today, and you gotta stay warm before the start of the race.
And Gavin, back to you. A second-place finish at this ECAC Championships. Congratulations on that. A very tight race, and I'm sure there's a part of you, even though I'm congratulating you on the second place, that says, man, I could have won that thing, because this thing was close to the final, finish line. Can you kind of describe how the race went in the front, and then ultimately that kick at the end?
Right, so it was me and the first place finisher pretty much battled it out throughout the whole race. I know Coach told me go out there and just play it by ear. We didn't really have a strategy. So I just go out there, and me and him, we fight back and forth. He takes the leading position a couple times, and I take it back, and we get to the last 100 yards, and I'm ahead. And right there at the end, 2 seconds, but, I live my life by win or lose, never defeated, so I kind of look at it as like a benefit type deal. It's going to make me, for next ECAC, whether it be track or we do it at cross again, it's motivating me, and hopefully I'll be able to come back from that.
Yeah, that's great. Now, as you mentioned, McDaniel College's Jack Jelko ends up winning the race by just 2 seconds over you.
2 seconds.
We're talking about an 8-kilometer race, so a 2-second difference, at the finish line. That's a close race. Michael, can you kind of describe a little more your race from your perspective and what it was like battling that field?
Okay, so for me, I'm not as fast as Gavin, so like I have to be more strategic while running. So like I'll start out slow and gradually like increase my speed, and like I'll purposely like I don't know, pick off certain people, and I slowly move up positions until the end of the race, and that's when I like give it the last thing I got.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Now, I would like you guys to think back to the week prior, which was the USA South Conference Championships. And Rocky Mount, North Carolina,
Right.
more of the team, not just the two of you, made the trip over there. along with your head coach Darryl Patrick, and some good results across the board for the Tornadoes. Certainly a weekend worth everybody feeling good about things as you guys headed back here. Can you guys reflect back on the USA South Conference Championships, Rocky Mount, North Carolina, that experience, and also how your race went?
Yeah, USA South, Rocky Mount. It was a really enjoyable race. A whole lot more competition at that race than our previous one in ECAC. So, I mean, it brought out the best in us. We got, I think, a lot of the team PR'd, if I'm not mistaken. Got some good PRs and good positional rankings. But yeah, it's definitely a good race.
Yeah, and Gavin, you end up earning all-conference second team. Also some awards handed out to a couple of your teammates, senior Molly Brown and junior Solomon Turner, both named to the all-sportsmanship team at the banquet. Michael, I'll turn it over to you. As far as, what it means to be kind of part of a team like this, and also, if you want to, maybe give a little bit of a congratulations to Molly and Solomon on winning those sportsmanship awards.
Yes, yes. So, like, to me, a team is like a second family. And, like, I know it's a super, super small team but I'm looking forward to helping it grow in number, because in reality, when you end up training for so long with people, they turn into your family. Now, that's not saying you'll never have disagreements, because we all have disagreements with family, but you get over it, because whether you like it or not, they're still on your team.
Makes a lot of sense. And, the team will get bigger come track and field season, because there's obviously more events. There's the sprinters, the field events and so forth. So the team kind of balloons up a little larger in the spring season. And I know the two of you already have your eyes on what's coming next with track and field.
Definitely.
We spoke a little bit before the show, but I would like you to communicate to the viewers what happens now. Now that you're done with the cross-country season, and as long-distance runners with an eye on the track and field season, what does your training look like?
Right, so ride out across country, 4 to 5 days off, just to recuperate. And then the best I remember what my coach told me is we're going to start upping for me personally, my mileage is going to increase. And then start back just training for track, getting ready for the 5K, 1,500, 800, whichever events we're in.
Similar for you, Michael, or anything a little different than what Gavin's got planned?
So me, it's my first year doing track, so we're going to figure out what event best suits me. But yeah, I'll probably end up upping my mileage, not to as much as Gavin over here, but it will definitely increase by a few miles daily.
Very good. And would like viewers to get to know each of you even further. Gavin, you've been on the program before, so
Yes, sir.
would like to kind of take it from this approach. When you started running competitively, whenever that might be. I'm sure if I were to poll 100 cross-country runners in the collegiate ranks, they'd all have a different answer, as far as, where that was. But if each of you can kind of tell the story when you started running competitively, and if you can maybe think back to that first race.
Oh, yeah, definitely. My first race was all the way back in 2012. Middle school is when I started cross country, and I've been at it ever since. Yeah, it's been a long journey, and starting to sort of get towards the end. It's been eight plus years running, but definitely looking to do some big things in these next 2 years.
And a sophomore from Hayesville, North Carolina, Hayesville High School.
Yes, sir.
Went to middle school in
Yes,
Hayesville
sir.
as well?
Yes, sir.
Very good. And Michael, freshman from Durham, North Carolina, Durham School of the Arts. Can you tell your story as far as when you started running competitively?
Okay, so Durham, most people don't know about Durham School of the Arts. It's a middle and high school. So my in 7th grade, my science teacher, it was around springtime, and she was talking about if you were interested in doing something like a sport, and so she mentioned cross country, and I was like, sure, I'll give it a try. So like 8th grade, I did middle school cross country, and I kind of enjoyed it. So I was like, okay, in high school, and the way our high school program was for the first 2 years, because I wasn't like really good at it, and I'm still not, but like I went and did a few races, but I got better around my junior year, and that's when it got more competitive, and like I was actually placing better, and time was improving a lot more, and so yeah.
Very good. Well, we're thrilled that both of you have come here to Brevard College. And my next question is kind of related to that. You know, we're in a very unique part of the country here in the western North Carolina mountains. People travel in from all over, you know, to experience this beauty we have here in our backyard. And as a result of that, there's all sorts of trails throughout the mountains that can be utilized by cross-country runners such as you two. Can you guys talk about that, just how unique it is to be in this part of the country and what that gives you as a cross-country student athlete in terms of training and really just maybe having fun out there?
Yeah, definitely. I've ran at a lot of different places this year, a lot of different towns and cities all over the place. Um, this area is like probably one of the best because those places that I ran, like Berea and not gonna call out any places, but their places to run are like really limited to train on. And being here in Western North Carolina, I mean, we got plenty of trails to go from, and it's a great place to be. Great place.
Yeah, like say you want to run a hill workout, you can easily find a hill. If you want it to be a steep, shorter hill, you can find one. If you want it to be a more gradual, longer one, you can find one. It really is a great place to run. As you might know, they host a runner distance running camp over the summer at the Brevard College. So I went there once. It was cool. My biggest regret of that was not going the rest of my years of high school. But yeah, people flew in from Switzerland to go.
Yeah, amazing location and an amazing history in cross country that Brevard College has. You know, from legendary coach Whittick, who also runs that camp. Just a awesome legacy that you guys are the next group to get to continue to carry that flame. And want to congratulate you guys again on a great year. Before I let you go, want to give you guys the opportunity to thank anyone who may have helped you along the way, or give a shout out to anybody who might be tuning in from back home. The floor is yours.
You go first.
Oh, you're making me go
Yeah,
first? Okay. I would like to thank my first high school coach, Coach Huggins, because without him, he really took me under his wing. And I would also like to give a shout out to an App State runner, Ethan Barber, because around my sophomore year, him and his group of friends took me under their wing, even though they were way more faster than me. They still helped me a lot and developed me as a person. They taught me how to lead a team because they were all captains at the time. And so the one, he's actually in Thailand right now, doing community service over there before he attends Brigham Young. And he taught me how to lead without raising my voice. The other one, Ethan, taught me how to lead while still having fun. And then my best friend Sam just taught me how to work super hard and stuff.
Outstanding. Sounds like some great mentors and friends there. Gavin?
Yeah, I would like to thank my family for one, always having my back. Mom and Dad's always been there. My dad has pretty much helped coach me throughout all my high school career, and he still supports me in college, even though he's not here with me, but still motivates me to keep running, keep strong, and keep grinding.
Outstanding. Well, congratulations again, gentlemen. These two represented Brevard College at the ECAC Championships up in New York this past weekend. They will now turn the page towards the track and field season. We look forward to you all continuing to perform there. So congratulations again, Gavin Morgan and Michael Fader. All right. Great to have those two cross-country runners coming off that ECAC championship. Great work, Gavin Morgan, with a second-place finish, just 2 seconds behind first-place competitor up there at the ECAC championships. And it's a wonderful performance by those two. And speaking about performers, very much looking forward to recapping what we witnessed this past weekend at Brevard Memorial Stadium as we are joined now by head coach Bill Kyatt. Coach, thanks for joining the program.
Appreciate you having me, Phil.
Well, Coach, we spoke briefly after the game, but would like to break down even further what went down on Saturday night, a cold, chilly Saturday night at Brevard Memorial Stadium. The Tornadoes took on the preseason USA South Conference favorite, the Averett Cougars, and come away with a 10-9 win. Big picture, how did you feel as far as, not only getting that win, but how the team performed over the weekend?
Well, to talk about that victory, you really need to start all the way back into mid-September, if you can remember that far back, with Christopher Newport, when we were able to get a victory in Brevard Memorial Stadium against Christopher Newport. That was really a program-changing win for us. And it wasn't but a few weeks later then the reigning, defending, undefeated champion, Maryville, they come into town. And all of a sudden, we get a signature win now against them. And just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Averett comes to town, and now we really have a defining victory for our program. And what a way to get it done on a senior night. That preseason number one pick for USA South, Averett. Heck, they boasted 26 seniors to our 4. And we went toe-to-toe with them and ended up on top when it was all said and done.
Tornadoes improved to 6-2 on the season and just one win away from matching the all-time school record for wins, which was the 2009 team. So to put that in perspective, most wins that the Tornadoes have had since 2009. Also, winners of 9 of their last 12 are the Tornadoes, dating back to last season. So really just an outstanding winning percentage if you take it back that far. Next up, a season finale against Greensboro and the opportunity to tie that school record for most wins in a season and also set a new school record for winning percentage. Big picture, Coach, if we can stick with that before we break down the Averett game, just exactly what all these numbers sort of mean for where this program has been.
Right, and a lot of it does stem from the confidence of these players, believing that they can win. So there were several former players, even though this wasn't a homecoming game, there were actually several former players at this game, and I spoke to them after the victory. And they all really had the same message, which was the change in attitude about the players and the belief that they can get a victory. So if you think about Brevard teams of the past, when that third field goal was made by Averett to go up 9-0 late in the game, in years past, the team would have just folded right there. We haven't done anything offensively. We've lost the field position battle most of the day, really struggling all the way around trying to get any kind of points on the board. What makes you think that all of a sudden now you're going to be able to get 2 scores in a short amount of time? And there wasn't one sagging body on that sideline when that field goal was made to put Averett up 9-0. They all firmly believed that we were going to win the game.
Averett went up 9-0 with 2:38 left in the third quarter. So the clock already a factor. At that point, Tornadoes able to chip away. Kind of literally and figuratively, as Stamati DeMalos hits a 35-yarder to make it 9-3. And then it's sort of on the defense's back, to get stops and to get this ball back into the offensive hands. If we can start with that unit, the defense, and down the stretch, continuing to, force these 3-and-out situations and get the ball back in the offense's hands.
Well, Averett averaging 37.5 points per game coming into this one and finishing with 9. I think that says a little bit about our performance on defense. And thus far in the month of November, Brevard College defense has given up 0 touchdowns.
That's correct.
So it's been all field goals. And what that does for the offense to see a defense hold the field goals, especially after that turnover that we had late on the fumble, that it gave Averett a very short field. They didn't have to go anywhere. They were already in field goal range. So for us to hold them to a field goal was clutch at that moment because that kept it close enough for us to be able to pull out that victory at the end. But you talk about rising to the occasion. That quarterback that they had last year rushed for almost 150 yards on us. And I told Coach Jakes I do not want to get beaten by his feet. This year he rushed for minus 26. So that says a little something about that. But he really was an outstanding player, their quarterback, Jacob Wright, and very elusive. And a lot of the plays that were made, we actually were there to make the play, and it was just his high skill set that allowed him to get free and be able to extend a play and get a ball thrown down the field. I mean, those plays are 8-9 seconds long. So you eliminate those, and we really shut down that potent Averett offense.
Yeah, 4 sacks by the Brevard College Tornado defense. Stephen Kennedy with one of them. Dakota Cochran, who's going to be a guest on the show, with a sack and a half. Also, Eddie Dean getting in on one of them. That was big, coming up with those sacks in some key moments of the game.
And again, for another week, going against a veteran offensive line. So we had a few schemes in there that were a little different than what we had shown on film and worked those. And we had a lot of success with those, A, from the effort, and B, from proper alignment, just doing what you're asked to do. And, as much as I want these players to get accolades from the USA South for Players of the Week and all that, I actually do love it when we don't get one and we have a victory, because it means that everyone is actually doing their job. And there's not somebody else having to cover for somebody that's not carrying their weight. So to have that kind of performance, holding Averett to 9 points, and you don't have anybody recognized on defense for a Player of the Week, Rookie of the Week, any of that, that says a lot about how they perform as a team on defense.
Yeah, and you said it, Coach. I mean, to me, that's, of all the stats we could talk about, all week long, that one's the one. 37.5 points per game headed into this game. You're going to do the math. That's an average of 5 touchdowns a game, and
that's right.
in a lot of circumstances. And to be held to just 3 field goals, just a tremendous job by the Tornado defense. And much of it because of, again, we've been talking about him all season, the secondary. Dante Anderson with a big game. Freshman Rook Tate coming up with a couple of key plays, a forced fumble, and he also jarred another ball loose on a key 3rd down stop. Also, Quint Jackson getting back on the field and contributing in a big way. We've talked about it, time and time again, but we can't talk about them enough with these totals that they're putting up this past defense.
Yeah, and as I've talked to you about it in the past, it really does begin with the pass rush. And over the past 2 weeks, really, we've amped up that pass rush and have been able to get to the quarterback. Now forcing the quarterback to throw with a hand in his face or moving around. He's not really settled in the pocket, and at times trying to hurry the ball. He's not really ready to throw. So that will help. But on top of that, all of that experience, I mean, you can't coach experience. You can have your own experience as a coach in all of those years, and you can tell them how it's going to be, but they need to experience it for themselves to learn and to grow. So those guys have been out there so often making great plays. Now you add some of those younger guys, Jacques Pledger, Rook Tate, that are in the mix. Well, look who they're working with. Look who they're around all of the time. These players with all these great skill sets and knowledge of the game, and being able to explain to them, where to be, when to be there, why to be there, and just some great individual plays. Dante Anderson can play probably any position on defense. I mean, he's that kind of athlete, understands schemes and where to be, just outstanding. But, you mentioned Rook Tate and some of the plays he made. That one that he made to break up the pass on the 3rd down, that was on our sideline, so I was right in front of that. And when you had Rook on the show and I was talking about him and the things that he could do, and I told you about his ability to change direction, because I remember I think I even used my fingers walking, how he's backpedaling and then plants and then can go forward. And at 145 pounds or whatever he's truly listed at, the acceleration and leverage that he had on that hit, because that ball was caught. He had that caught, and he just ran right through him, and that's why that ball came loose, and that was a huge moment in the game. But Quentin Jackson being able to come back out on the field to give us confidence, knowing the things that he's done, the number of interceptions that he's racked up, just his play, his cool hand out there, and being able to settle people down. It was nice to have him out there to be able to do that. And I'm sure Wesley Ross and the interception, and every single thing that took place out there is just phenomenal.
So fourth quarter, Tornado's able to get the ball back in the 2-minute offense, essentially. And Dalton Cole able to move the Tornadoes down the field and ultimately hit Blake Taylor for a 36-yarder with just 52 seconds left on the clock. Tornadoes tie the game up at 9. Damalos hits the extra point to go up 10-9. That final drive, and when the chips were down, the pressure on for Dalton Cole and the entire offensive unit to get it done, and then that touchdown strike to Blake Taylor. Can you speak up to that a bit, Coach?
So throughout the game, there were a few moments where we did something nice on offense. And, okay, wow, that was a great play. But then there's 5 or 6 either mediocre or very average to poor plays. And then here comes another good play. But they were never strung together. And going into the opponent, knowing that Averett's defense was much like ours, very, very good, we knew where the most outstanding players were going to be lined up. And for us to just be able, what people describe as open up the offense, meaning we don't have everybody all bunched in all tight playing football in here, you move everybody out. Well, once you move everybody out to give space, that also allows space for the defensive players. So now you have all-American defensive ends that are free now to run, and it's one-on-one battles. So you have 5 offensive linemen and you have 5 guys rushing. You have to hope that your 5 offensive linemen win every single one-on-one battle, and not one guy can mess up on that play. So, you're really taking a chance when you do that, especially when you have that challenge in front of you of a defensive line like Averett and all of those guys playing with high motors. They're highly skilled. So to be able to move the ball consistently well down the field for an entire drive was going to be a tough task. So that's what made that drive even more impressive. But it started with just some simple throws, to get the ball, get out of bounds. We hit Cortez Scales a handful of times on that drive to move the ball down the field, mixed in a couple runs to get the first down. And there was never a sense of anxiety on the sideline. I didn't see it from any of the players on the field. They just knew they were going to get it done. The focus was so laser sharp that I knew we were going to be able to get down there and do it. And once we got into that red zone area, we were a fringe, high red zone, and we were able to talk to Dalton Cole between a few of those plays, and Coach Kruzik told him, hey, this is what I need from you on this particular play. Meanwhile, Coach Bathard tells the receivers, hey, this is what I need from you on this play. And sure enough, we go out there. Dalton Cole looks the safety off. Safety turns and works one way. That opens Blake Taylor up the other way. He throws that ball down there, and I know Blake was waiting on that thing forever because those are the most difficult ones, the ones where you're open and you just want that ball to hurry up and get there. And, boy, he secured that catch, and as soon as he did, he got popped and was able to hold on to that ball, and that was a huge moment for us.
Tornadoes go ahead, and then it's not over yet, folks. Averett able to get some, favorable field position from their perspective, with time running out, and Wesley Ross comes up with the game-sealing interception. Checkmate, game over. Tornadoes improved to 6-2. Coach, I do want to mention one other number, which is 0 turnovers for the Tornadoes. Kind of might have gone overlooked a little bit in this game with so many fireworks and other stats and so forth. But how big is that for the team to protect the ball, against a formidable defense, not give up a interception and not lose a fumble?
Yeah, and that's one thing that you always talk about as a coach is we have to win the turnover battle. It's kind of a staple, but it's a necessary comment to remind everybody how important every inch is. And it doesn't matter where you turn the ball over. It's bad for you. Because if you turn it over in the red zone, meaning at the 25, 20, 15 going into score, you just lost points because theoretically you could have kicked a field goal.
Sure.
If you lose that ball on your own 25, your own 20, now you gave the defense a short field to defend against the opponent's offense, and you make it a lot of difficult work for them. So that is something that is important at all times, and that also obviously helps you with time of possession and keeping your defense off the field to keep them fresh.
Do want to mention special teams as well. We mentioned Stamati Damalos, not only the game-winning extra point, which pressure-packed situation, you know.
Which is, believe it or not, I'm sure some were wondering why we called a timeout right before that. But with all the jubilation that was going on after that touchdown, I was so concerned about how we were going to protect that extra point with just guys scattering and running around. I wanted to calm everybody down, so I wasn't icing my own kicker on an extra point. I told somebody, hey, you go ahead and warm up. We just want to make sure that we have this thing blocked perfectly, and there were no issues. So that's why we did that before that.
And several other special teams highlights throughout the contest. A blocked field goal at the end of the second quarter, which you look at the final score, may have proved to be the difference.
That's right.
A turnover on a punt attempt by Averett, and also a good day for the Tornadoes punter who, sent it, flip field position several times and did a nice job.
Yeah, and just another great week for special teams, and we've always emphasized that since we've got here as coaches 3 years ago. Such a critical phase because of how the field position changes based on what it is that you're able to do and the points that can be scored from special teams play. So, tremendous job with going full speed at all times, never knowing what's going to happen. That punter just dropped the ball. And, I mean, if we don't have our wits about us and we're not doing what we're asked to do, he could very well pick that ball up and punt it. But we're executing properly and able to get that done there. Maximum effort, not just assuming a guy that is now the all-time leader in field goals in the USA South is just going to automatically make the field goal. So we go after it and block it. I mean, there were some things there that were truly outstanding.
And I mentioned the punter, Joe Gullo, doing the honors this past weekend. 7 punts, including 2 inside the 21, inside the 10. So nice job by Joe. Now, next up, Coach, another road trip, Greensboro College, 2 p.m. this Saturday. With a win on Saturday, we mentioned it before, Tornadoes tie the school record for most wins and also the opportunity for the highest winning percentage. Also an opportunity to position the Tornadoes better for a potential bowl game in conjunction with the ECAC. Can you preview this weekend's game at Greensboro and how critical a win is this weekend?
Well, it's an incredible opportunity for us to finish second in our conference when we were picked to be in the bottom portion of the conference by the coaches in the preseason poll. So not too shabby there. As far as the importance of this game, I had to let the players know about the opponent, Greensboro. So Coach Crum, outstanding man, great coach with the obstacles and challenges that he has in front of him. He's done an incredible job trying to build what it is that he wants out of his Greensboro program. And you can see the improvement that they have made this year. They've been able to score points at times against some very good defenses in the USA South. Now, their record within conference isn't what they were looking for, and it hasn't been over the last few seasons, but their last conference win came in November at Greensboro on Senior Day. They happened to do it against Methodist. So it can be done for them any given Saturday, and it's why you play the game.
Sure.
And the worst thing that you can ever do is underestimate an opponent. Last time we had a huge win, Maryville, the very next week we played Methodist. And we all know how that ended up in a 24-23 loss for Brevard. So I'm hoping now they have the experience of winning a huge game and then the very next week having to play for something now. This is huge what we're playing for. So when you look at the teams that are eligible for postseason play in one of these ECAC bowls, all of their records stand at either 8-1 or 7-2 right now. And we're right there on the threshold of trying to get into that. There are several teams right on our tail that are 6-3. So if they get victories, now that pushes them to 7-3. So the fact that we had the no contest against Apprentice School could hurt us, but could help us. It depends on how that would have played out. So, we need this victory if we want to be a part of that. And I told the guys, look, this is your chance to make a statement, to say, hey, look at us. We deserve to be in this. If we just kind of putz around and mill around and don't really show much, who wants to see that? So we really need to turn it loose on Saturday.
Yeah, big opportunity for the Tornadoes to make a statement and to continue this historic run this weekend at Greensboro. Coach, before I let you go, there's a video that's been going viral a little bit, and it was in that post-game celebration. The whole team down on the far end zone, cold conditions by that point of the evening, and you roll the football to the entire squad, and they kind of interesting, gingerly and kind of very wisely, come together as a team. What was going on there, Coach?
Well, they knew that if we wanted any chance whatsoever at having a selection to go to the bowl, we would need that victory over Avery. It had to happen. We just had no chance otherwise. So when deciding to whom to give the game ball, I just had them all lined up, and we were standing with our toes on the 6-yard line because that was our 6th win. And they're all spread out, and in order to hand out the game ball, I figured I'd use my bowling form. So that's why I did that. I thought it was a very nice roll for having an oblong ball for bowling, and rolled it down, and all the kids were there and fell down like bowling pins and went over there and celebrated. And it was such a joy to be able to see these kids that excited. If you can think about giving someone a Christmas gift, and you get a gift for somebody, and you're really hoping this is what they've always wanted, and you give them that gift, and when they see the gift and the way their face lights up and their eyes are dancing because they're just so excited about what you were able to give to them, that's what we wanted to do as a coaching staff. We knew that these players wanted to get to a bowl game, and it couldn't happen without a win against Avery. So to see the light in their eyes when they saw the scoreboard and knew that they had won the game, it was just such a thrill for us as coaches to be able to give that gift to them.
Awesome, Coach. Well, I love the poetry of the 6-yard line and the bowling and so forth, and hopefully that whole march towards a bowl game continues with another win this weekend at Greensboro. Thanks, Coach. Well, we're going to talk to a couple of your players now, Dakota Cochran and Blake Taylor. Looking forward to talking to these two. Thanks for joining the program.
Okay, appreciate it. Thanks, Phil.
All right, that was head coach Bill Kyatt recapping that 10-9 win over Averett on Saturday, a thriller at Brevard Memorial Stadium. Hopefully many of you were able to be there either in person or watch the broadcast of that one. A compelling game all the way through, and ultimately Brevard with the winning touchdown with just 52 seconds left to play. And happy to be joined by these two now as they make their way to the coach's corner here at Dugan's Pub. Freshman linebacker Dakota Cochran and sophomore wide receiver Blake Taylor. Gentlemen, thanks for joining the program.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having us.
Well, it's great to have you two on the show this evening coming off a win like this. I love talking to you guys after these fun wins. I know coaching staff has got you guys already looking ahead to Greensboro and in that one game at a time, one day at a time mentality. But, entertain us. Let's review this matchup against Averett. And Blake, we'll start with you.
All right.
We'll just start with what's, on everybody's mind. The game winner. Let's start with that. Time's running down.
Right.
Time is an issue. You guys are running the 2-minute offense and, moving the ball up the field. And then Dalton Cole hits you for a 36-yarder to tie up the score and ultimately win this game on an extra point. Can you talk about that play, how you got open and then ultimately found the end zone?
Just pretty much basics. Just run out there. We're doubles. We're in our flush formation. Got the best athletes out there. And it's a simple route. I'm just running right at my guy, staring him down the whole time. I give him a head fake, and he bites on it pretty hard. And I just kept on my route, stayed on my track, ran as fast as I could. I turned around and looked, and ball's in the air. I said, this is what you live for. This is what you got to do. Catch the ball and score. Happened so fast, I just turned, caught it. I got hit, but I knew I had it.
Love it. Yeah, great stuff, and congrats on that. It's one of those moments that, you kid around with this kind of thing, but I think it's going to be true. You're going to be telling your grandkids about it one of these days. Dakota, on the defensive side, you guys played lights out. Held this team to no touchdowns, just 3 field goals. And down the stretch, when it mattered most, you guys were able to get a lot of third down stops, force them to punt, get the ball back into the offensive's hands. First, before we talk about your game specifically, kind of big picture, the defense, how you guys felt on Saturday.
The game plan was just going in there and play football, just do our job and do what we do best. That's all.
Now, you guys were able to get some considerable pass rush on the Averett quarterback, who, as Coach mentioned, not only has, the weapon of his arm in the passing game, but also can scramble around and so forth. You were able to get in there for a sack and a half. Can you talk about that side of it as far as getting in that offensive backfield and making plays?
Well, when I did get that sack, what happened was the tackle, he moved down, and then the running back comes to block me. So I kind of gave him a head nod, and then just it opened that lane. Then he kind of tried to get out, and I grabbed his jersey and just held on.
Now, Blake, you go up against this defense almost a daily basis at practice.
Right.
And you have to go up against this defensive backfield that's breaking all sorts of records. Is just doing incredible things, not only the starting unit, but also guys who started the year on the second team who've now moved up. Can you talk a little bit about the Brevard College defense this season and specifically that secondary?
Definitely the best defense I've ever gone up against. It's just they're incredible, the way they move, the way they rotate. They just know what they're doing before the offense even knows what they're doing. Like, they're on everything. Dante Anderson, definitely one of the greatest defensive backs I've ever played against, and he's just outstanding. Wesley Ross too. It's just that secondary is like they always got us locked down. They always know what they're doing, and they play the best football every single time they're on the field.
And that's got to prepare you for Saturdays in a big way, because if you play against talent like that during the week, oftentimes you can really just have fun come Saturday.
Right. Yeah. They prepare us really well. It's just it's really a blessing to get to go up against them and prepare with them to get on the field and go up against whoever we're up against.
Now, Dakota, vice versa. You go up against this offense who's got a variety of weapons, in practice, and that prepares you for Saturdays. Can you talk about the offense and the challenges that Brevard brings to opposing defenses?
Well, it's just like what he said. It's a great challenge to go against them because, they got good athletes to go against, and it helps us prepare for the team that we're going to face on Saturday.
Well, this defense gets that final stop. Wesley Ross gets the game-sealing interception. You can truly celebrate in earnest. This was a huge win for you guys, beating a very good Averett team. Can you guys talk about that, just kind of, the joy that comes along with getting a big win like that?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. It felt so unreal. Like, it's just like it still hasn't settled in, I guess. Like, I'm still pretty excited about it, but it's such a great experience, to go out there and execute the way we prepared all week, do what we do, and get the win.
Just being a part of the team and just being a part of that moment, it was a dream come true.
Well, Blake from Dandridge, Tennessee, Jefferson County High School, and Dakota from Elizabethton, Tennessee, Happy Valley High School. Can you guys talk a little bit about, both of you guys from the state of Tennessee, but, able to come play college football together here at Brevard?
Tennessee's the greatest state in the United States. That's all I got to say.
Yes, sir.
They develop the athletes, man. Tennessee's awesome.
Well, we're thrilled you guys found your way here. Before I let you go, I always like giving first-time guests the following opportunity. If there's anybody who might be watching the program back home and someone you might want to give a shout-out to, the floor is yours. Dakota, we'll start with you.
I just want to give a shout-out to my family for just being the best that they can, and I love them to death. Shout out to my girlfriend and just everybody, the community back home, just supporting me. So, thank you.
All right. Shout out Top Flights. Shout out to 865. You know what I'm saying? Also, shout out to my mom, my dad. It wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for them helping me get here. Love you guys.
865. I'm figuring that's an area code in Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Well, guys, last thing. Got one more regular season game here. They got to take care of business this weekend at Greensboro. What have the coaches told you so far? What's going to be the key this weekend to get that W?
Play our game. You know, it's just every week we focus on just one game at a time. Just play our game, do what we got to do, and we can get to what we've been striving for this whole season.
Defensive end, Dakota?
Just like I said before, just doing our job and doing what we do best. I mean, just play defense. That's about it.
Very good, gentlemen. Well, congrats on a great win this weekend. I mean, it was a thriller for those of us who got to witness it live, and awesome to see you guys come on the winning end. One more in the regular season this weekend, then hopefully some bowling following that. No pun intended after the coach rolled that out. Let's end there. Well, did you guys know exactly what he was up to when he started to bowl the football?
No clue. He rolled it, and then I saw everybody falling like pins. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It makes sense now.
Now it all makes sense. The
Yeah.
players are falling like pins.
Yeah.
I appreciate you kind of bringing this all together for us, because you watch that viral video on social media, you're like, wait a second, what's going on here exactly? But now it all comes into focus. Hopefully you guys will be bowling in a couple weeks, but first things first, good luck this weekend at Greensboro. Great job, Dakota Cochran and Blake Taylor. Thanks for joining the program.
Thank you.
All right, two of those stars from this weekend's win over Averett, Dakota Cochran and Blake Taylor. Great to have those two on the program. And we'll shift gears now after recapping that thrilling 10-9 win by the Tornadoes football team as they continue some school history record-breaking type performance this season. And really pleased to be joined now because we weren't sure if this appearance was going to happen. It depended on some news this afternoon, as joined now by Coach L. Dana. Coach, thanks for joining the program.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Coach, in the 4 p.m. hour this afternoon, the team gathered together to await the news of the ECAC Men's Soccer Championships for 2019. 16 teams were selected to that championship tournament, and the Tornadoes able to earn a spot in that tournament. They will face off against Widener on Saturday in Chester, Pennsylvania, outside of Philadelphia. Before we get into the specifics of that matchup and that trip, can you talk about sort of what that meant for the team to be together and that emotion of getting the news as a unit?
Sure. I mean, it was a build-up the whole week, right? So it is what it is. The kids started looking and calculating, and you got to do all that math and keep an eye on strength of schedules and results in their own tournaments and whatnot. But I told them, guys, it's unpredictable. I've been seeing both sides that, we knew that we would make and we didn't. Or we just called the season and started doing inventory thinking the season was over and we made it. So I told them to keep their to stay calm. But truth being said, I was nervous myself. That anxious last few minutes you were there, and until you see your name there, and when it does come out, it's just like you scored a goal, right? You celebrate like you scored a goal.
Well, and I know very gratifying for this team, many of whom came together very quickly, with your arrival here at Brevard College, Coach, and really put together a exciting and rewarding regular season where they earned this opportunity.
No, it has been a blessing for me. It was wonderful the way the returners, the seniors and juniors received me, and of course all these freshmen, and this season has been wonderful, and you just hope that it never ends. But I think whatever we do this next couple of weekends, hopefully, we'll not only send the seniors out on a really high note, but it will build something that the returners will be able to kind of create a tradition and a momentum.
Well, it's an interesting week logistically, for the coaching staff and also the student athletes. You sort of have to wait until the news of whether you're going to the ECAC championships before you put everything in motion. And I know you did exactly that as soon as the news came down this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, it's the NCAA cuts a lot of your work because they have a travel agency that will do all the arrangements for the hotels and whatnot. But the ECAC, they have a they don't have that structure. So now I gotta get on the phone and arrange for hotels and buses and everything else, which I enjoy doing that. But you're right, it's you hit the rapids, right? You just gotta take care of everything, and it comes fast at you.
And so, with that being said, what does the practice schedule and the travel schedule look like this week?
Yeah, so we're gonna train tomorrow and Wednesday, same time as usual, 4 and 6. But on Thursday we leave right after classes. I don't want them to miss classes on Thursday. We're going to make it halfway, so we're going to spend the night in the roundabouts of Roanoke. And then we're going to just have a light workout there, spend the night, get up, get to the final destination and practice on their facility, because I think it would be important for them to get a sense of the settings. And come Saturday is the game day.
I haven't looked far enough ahead to the exact weather forecast for Saturday.
I
Perhaps
have.
you have, Coach, but I'm imagining the temperatures are going to be pretty cold.
Yeah, the highs are going to be in the 30s, but you wouldn't expect anything different this time of the year anyways, right? For some odd reason, both the NCAA D3 and the ECAC will always be at a cold setting in this time of the year, so might as well get used to it.
Do we know anything yet about the opponent, Widener University?
Yeah, I squeezed in a little bit in between the announcements and now. We just came out of practice, but yes, they played a very, very strong schedule. Even though we were strength of schedule higher than they were, they did play more top 25 teams than we did, and they came out 500 in those games. But it's hard sometimes to judge when you don't have common opponents. What I can tell you is a team that's just like we were a couple of weeks ago, is coming from these all back-to-back games that now we have 10 days without games, so you can make an argument that we might be a little out of game shape, but I'd much rather be healthy, which we are now finally, than come with tired legs. And so it's possible that we're going to hit him at a time like that, but also it's a team that earned the right to be there, and so did we, so it should be a great match.
And certainly the Brevard College team played some great opposition this year in the USA South Conference, a real strong year for the USA South on the men's soccer side. Do you feel like that, conference schedule prepared this team for this opportunity this weekend?
Sure, and also out of conference. That's why we had such a high strength of schedule. I think you haven't mentioned, but in that pod, we're number 2 seed, so we're really up there. But out of conference, we played a couple of potential top 25s, and sometimes they were, sometimes they weren't, in Swanee and Barry. But then we played a very tough NAI school in Montreat, so we played a tough schedule, and I think more often than not that helps you this time of the year.
Very good, Coach. Well, we're going to talk to a couple of your student athletes next, Pedro Campos and JP Swarty. Can you tease the audience a little bit on these two, what
Sure.
we got to expect here?
Well, country mates, right? They came from Brazil. One is a freshman and one is transferring from a junior college. JP is a junior academically, and two kids that jumped right in and fit right in. Pedro is coming to replace big shoes on our senior captain and one of the best keepers in the conference, Patrick Hall. But he's got a ton of potential, and JP is one of these center forwards that's physical and likes to post up, and both of them very good players.
Very good, Coach. Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
earning a spot to the ECAC Men's Soccer Championship. I know it was a little nerve-wracking there as we're waiting for the news to come, but the positive news didn't come indeed, and a big matchup this weekend. Good luck and safe
Thank you.
travels, Coach.
Thanks again.
All right, Coach Eldana, great to have him on the program, previewing this weekend's ECAC Men's Soccer Championship, where the Tornadoes will take on Widener University Saturday at 2 p.m. in Chester, Pennsylvania. And two of the men's soccer student athletes making their way here to the coach's corner now. Joined by Pedro Campos and JP Swarty. Gentlemen, thanks for joining the show.
Thank you
for
so
calling.
Well, great to have you on the program. I want to think back to just a few hours ago. The team was gathered up in a classroom type setting, waiting, waiting, waiting for the news to come on the ECAC Men's Soccer Championship. And then the news came. You're going to get to play in the postseason. The season continues on. Can you guys talk about that moment and what that felt like to get that news?
I think it was even better when finally came in because, like you said, we were there for like plenty of time and just waiting, and got like nervous. And then finally, someone say, "Hey, look!" We all look like finally loaded, and there's our name there. So it was like just a relief that finally we can play again because well, everyone wants like play again and again together.
Yes, was that like a big time for us? We were like taking the like our time to wait these like for the whole week, waiting these, and as the coach said, like we were waiting until like we see our college there. So we were really happy to go to postseason and play there. Hopefully we win Saturday and Sunday and Saturday and go to the finals and win the postseason.
Yeah, that's what's kind of cool about the tournament and the format is you win 4 games, you're champions.
Yes.
That's true.
I know, you guys like to look one game at a time,
Yeah.
but guys
One
like
step
me
at a
like to
time.
look ahead, to that kind of thing. So this weekend you're heading up to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania
Yeah.
area.
Yes.
I talked to Coach a little bit. It's going to be a little cold up
Just
there.
a little.
Can you guys talk about your experience playing in cold weather and maybe some of the things you do as players to prepare for the cold weather? Whether it's different gear or what have you.
Oh well, in my first 2 years playing college, I was doing JUCO in Iowa. So it's like really cold. So I played like few times when it was like really cold, but it's better we like get early in the field, like get on like shape earlier because it's like really cold. So you like have to be like warm faster. It's really hard to play when it's cold.
But you have some experience
Yeah.
from that time in Iowa. How about you, Pedro?
I'm not gonna say zero, but like at least one time I think I played like just a little bit cold, but not cold enough. Like it's gonna be this weekend, so I'm trying to prepare my mind, but I don't know if I have clothes or not for that. So, but I will try to survive.
Well, and the good news is a lot of your upperclassmen teammates have, had to deal with this. I mean, it even gets cold here. I mean, it's going to be record colds tomorrow.
Yeah,
I don't know if you
tomorrow.
guys right here in Western North Carolina, but an interesting dynamic, when the temperature drops. Now, I want to reflect back, a couple weeks ago, Senior Day, and 7 seniors were honored. Matthew Brethen, Patrick Hall, who you work with closely on the goalkeeping side of things.
Yes.
Eric Lenhart, Javi Marijuena, Mateos Masukawa, Jackson Riddle, and Alex Tenhai. You two are both newcomers to the Tornadoes men's soccer team, but those 7, of course, have been around, and I'm sure have helped you all a lot this season get adjusted and, also just create some great friendships. Can you talk
For
about
sure.
the senior class and how important they've been to each of you?
I think they were always there to help us, inside, outside the field, in class. You can talk to like all freshmen and new students here. They're always like willing to help. Patrick, like you said, he's always like on goalie drills. He's always talking to me like, do this, do that. You're doing great. So it's really good like to hear from someone that is like older than you and has been playing for a while that you were doing great and hear like what I can fix or not.
Yeah, like it's not hard. You like leave home and come to other country, other city. So then like they were really nice for me, for Pedro, for like everyone that came in field, off field, in like classes, like everything that we need.
Mm.
They were there to help us. So they are really important for the team inside and offside, like in and off the field, on and off the field.
Yeah, and you mentioned, coming from your home country, each of you from Brazil.
Yeah.
There's several Brazilians on the team, as long
Yeah.
with players from other parts of the world, which
That's
is
true.
which is an awesome kind of aspect of the Tornado team. I talked to you guys at the very beginning of the season and
That's
asked you hey, how's it going? How do you like Brevard, North Carolina? Now that you're this much further along, towards the end of the men's soccer season, I see a big smile here from JP. How do you like it here, playing for this team, but also going to college here at Brevard?
Yeah, it's been a really good, really good city for me. College people, they are really nice at me, at like everyone, and I really like here, and I just want to enjoy this tournament with my teammates and win as much as possible, and let's play.
It's been 3 months that with a great experience. For me, in my opinion, the best part of my day was when I step on the field with those guys for practice and for game. So it's really cool to keep doing this for another week, hopefully one other one after. And it's been really great. Classes, practice, weekends. There's awesome people here, and it's been really cool.
Last thing, I want to bring it back to the soccer field. And you guys kind of, in a way, see the other during practice as a opposition, goalkeeper, striker. So we'll start with you, Pedro. What kind of shot does he have, and how hard is it to defend as a goalkeeper?
It's hard when he gets inside the box, and he's really strong, especially his left foot. And every time he scored, he smile at me I scored, you lost, I won. So I always try to save his balls and all other strikers. But he's a great striker, and his left shot's really great.
Now, I've seen Pedro make some acrobatic saves, one of those where you're like, whoa, he just pulled that off. Can you talk even further how good of a goalkeeper this guy is?
I always call Pedro as a big monster because I know how good he is, and sometimes after games he's kind of mad because he didn't play at all, but I always try to say, hey Pedro, don't worry, we you'll have 2 more 3 years to play, and everyone knows what you you can give for the team. So I know how good he is, and how Pedro can help us a lot off and on the field.
Very nice. Well, guys, good luck the rest of this week as you train and prepare for the ECAC Men's Soccer Championships. Congratulations on making it. That was
you.
awesome
Thank you
to
so
get
much.
to share that with you this afternoon. And good luck this Saturday. Widener University, the opponent, 2 p.m. in Chester, Pennsylvania. Gentlemen, go get it done for NATO Nation up there, all right?
Yes, sir.
Gonna make history.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
JP Swarty and Pedro Campos, two of those men's soccer players, getting ready for that ECAC Men's Soccer Championships. And again, folks, the Tornadoes today named a number 2 seed in their pod for the ECAC Men's Soccer Division III Championships. They will play in this 16-team tournament beginning Saturday in Chester, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia, 2 p.m. game time against Widener University. Folks, come on out to the Boshemer Gymnasium on Tuesday. That's tomorrow night. The women's and men's season openers. Women's take on Toccoa Falls at 5:30 p.m., and then the men's team takes on the same opponent, Toccoa Falls, at 7:30 p.m. That's the season opening evening of Brevard College men's and women's basketball, Tuesday night, 5:30 and 7:30. Thursday, the women's team heads to Barry in Barry, Georgia. Friday, the men's team is back home at the Bosch, 7 p.m. versus Pensacola Christian. So come on out on Friday night. And then Saturday, a big day for Brevard College Tornadoes Athletics. The football team will be at Greensboro at 2 p.m., coming off that big 10-9 win over Averett over the weekend. We mentioned men's soccer at the ECAC Championships. That's also at 2 p.m. And then the men's basketball team on Saturday night will be at UNC Asheville. So if you're up in the Asheville area and want to check out the Tornadoes taking on Division I UNC Asheville, check that one out on Saturday night. And then Sunday, back at the Bosch, women's basketball will be home against Methodist at 3 p.m. Want to thank our sponsors, Arby's, Jets Pizza, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn, Ingles Mission Sports Medicine, Comporium, Pepsi, and the home of Tornado Talk, Dugan's Pub. Make sure you follow Brevard College Athletics on social media, at BC Tornadoes on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe to Brevard College Tornadoes on YouTube. Follow Brevard College Tornadoes on SoundCloud, and be sure to like Brevard College Athletics on Facebook for all that information. Also follow Brevard College, all one word, on Flickr, where you can access the latest photos from all Brevard College events. Want to thank those behind the scenes, Jamarcus Walker, Magiana Rodriguez, and Joseph Marvin. Thank you for joining another edition of Tornado Talk. We'll see you next Monday night. Go Tornadoes.